Men are so simple and ready to obey, yet you will find few who will not be made fools of. Niccolo Machiavelli.
Imagine a king on his throne, robes, crown, scepter, looks the part, but every advisor whispers doubts. Every general questions orders. Why? Because confidence isn't what they told you. It's not loud pronouncements or forced smiles. That's the mask of the insecure, and the powerful smell weakness a mile away. Right now, you might be leaking power. Tiny holes in your armor, draining your authority. You project confidence, you perform strength. But it's a show, and they see through it. They tell you confidence is about believing in yourself. False. They sell you self-affirmations and mirror gazing. A waste of time. True confidence is about mastering the game, knowing the rules, and playing them ruthlessly. It's not an internal state, it's a weapon you wield. And like any weapon, it needs to be sharp, clean, and deadly. Today we expose the 3 confidence traps that turn kings into clowns. The hidden flaws in your strategy that bleed power. We'll show you how to fix them, how to project strength, how to command respect, not demand it. You think you're confident? Let's see. Confidence, a shield, a sword. They tell you it comes from within. This is a lie. Right now, you may be leaking power, bleeding respect, because your so-called confidence is a carefully constructed illusion, riddled with holes. We're not talking about arrogance. We're talking about something far more insidious, something that hides in plain sight, crippling even the most intelligent men. This is about the hidden traps in your psychology. The self-sabotaging habits you mistake for strength, the subtle ways you undermine your own authority. The first trap, over-explanation. The need to justify every decision, to rationalize every action. It stems from a deep-seated insecurity, a fear of being judged. You think that by explaining yourself you're being transparent, reasonable. You are not. You are revealing weakness. You are begging for approval. Every explanation is an opportunity for attack, a chance for them to find fault, to plant doubt. The more you explain, the weaker you appear. Watch what happens when you're challenged on a decision. Do you launch into a detailed defense? Do you offer a point-by-point justification? Do you try to convince them of your superior logic? Stop. You're digging a hole. You're handing them the shovel. They smell your fear. They see your vulnerability, and they will exploit it. Here's how you fix this. Silence, the most powerful weapon in your arsenal. Answer questions with questions. Deflect with vague pronouncements. Offer cryptic allusions. Make them work for your understanding. Never reveal the full picture. Keep them guessing. Keep them off balance. If pressed, offer a simple, declarative statement. This is the way it will be. No explanation, no justification, just cold, hard authority. If you announce your every move, every thought, every plan, people will anticipate you, undermine you, control you. But if you quietly execute your strategy, leaving them in the dark, they have nothing to attack. They can only react. And by the time they react, it's already too late. Machiavelli said, "It is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be chosen." What he understood is that fear is born of the unknown, of the unpredictable, of the power that is never fully revealed. Explanation breeds familiarity. Familiarity breeds contempt, and contempt breeds disobedience. But there's another trap, even more subtle. One that masquerades as self-awareness. One that can cripple you from the inside. What is it? Self-deprecation. Self-deprecation? The humble brag? The faux humility? They tell you it makes you relatable, approachable, like one of the common folk. This is another lie. It makes you look weak, desperate for validation, constantly seeking reassurance. Every self-deprecating joke is an admission of inadequacy, a signal that you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, why should anyone else? It stems from a fear of appearing arrogant, a fear of being disliked. You try to preempt criticism by making fun of yourself first. You think you're disarming your enemies. You are not. You're arming them. You're giving them ammunition. They will use it. They will amplify it. They will twist it to their advantage. Think about the last time you made a self-deprecating joke. What was the reaction? Did people laugh with you or at you? Did they admire your humility? Or did they sense your insecurity? Did it enhance your authority? Or did it diminish it? Here's how you eliminate this. Silence. Again, let your actions speak for themselves. Demonstrate your competence. Showcase your achievements. Radiate confidence. Don't apologize for your success. Don't downplay your abilities. Own them. If people accuse you of arrogance, let them. Better to be envied than pitied. If you constantly diminish your accomplishments, people will believe you. They will undervalue you. They will disrespect you. But if you let your results speak for themselves, without the need for constant self-flagellation, they will have no choice but to acknowledge your power. They will see you as a force to be reckoned with. Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see but few can feel. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are." What he understood is that perception is everything, and self-deprecation is a perception killer. It creates a chink in your armor, an opening for your enemies to exploit. But there's a final trap, the most dangerous of all, the one that can lead to your ultimate downfall. A trap so insidious, so deeply ingrained, that you may not even realize you're caught in it. What is it? The need for external validation. The relentless pursuit of praise, the addiction to approval, the constant need to be liked. This is the ultimate confidence killer. It turns you into a puppet, a slave to the opinions of others. You become so focused on pleasing people that you lose sight of your own goals, your own values, your own values, your own power. It stems from a deep-seated fear of rejection, a fear of being alone. You believe that your worth is determined by the opinions of others. You are wrong. Your worth is determined by your actions, by your achievements, by your impact on the world. Watch what happens when you seek validation. Do you compromise your principles? Do you abandon your strategies? Do you betray your allies? Do you sacrifice your long-term goals for short-term approval? You are selling your soul. You are trading your power for fleeting moments of acceptance. Here's how you break free. Embrace solitude. Cultivate self-reliance. Develop a strong sense of inner worth. Focus on your own goals. Pursue your own ambitions. Don't seek approval. Command respect. Let your actions speak louder than words. Let your results silence your critics. If you constantly seek validation, you will become weak, predictable, controllable. People will use you, manipulate you, discard you. But if you cultivate self-reliance, you will become strong, independent, unstoppable. You will be a master of your own destiny. Machiavelli advised, "The prince must not mind incurring the charge of cruelty for the purpose of keeping his subjects united and faithful, for with a very few examples he will be more merciful than those who, from excess of tenderness, allow disorders to arise, from whence spring bloodshed or rapine. For these, as a rule, injure the whole community, while the executions of the prince injure only individuals." What he understood is that true power requires the ability to make unpopular decisions, to prioritize the greater good over personal feelings, to be willing to be feared if necessary. These are the confidence traps, the hidden weaknesses that undermine your power, the subtle flaws that bleed your strength, over-explanation, self-deprecation, the need for external validation. Avoid them, eliminate them, and you will become a force to be reckoned with. Don't fall for empty pep talks and mirror gazing, a waste of time. True confidence is about mastering the game, knowing the rules, and playing them ruthlessly. It's not an internal state, it's a weapon you wield. And like any weapon, it needs to be sharp, clean, and deadly. Today, we expose the 3 confidence traps that turn kings into clowns, the hidden flaws in your strategy that bleed power. We'll show you how to fix them, how to project strength, how to command respect, not demand it. You think you're confident? Let's see. The deadliest confidence is blind confidence. It's the kind that tells you, "I'm good," when you're actually bleeding out. It's thinking your fortress is impenetrable, while enemies dig tunnels beneath the walls. This is how empires fall. Not with a bang, but a slow, arrogant rot. It's believing your own hype. Blind confidence destroys empires because it breeds complacency. You stop innovating, you stop adapting, you surround yourself with yes men who tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to hear. You become deaf to warnings, blind to threats. You think you're untouchable. That's when they strike. Watch what happens when a CEO, riding high on a string of successes, decides he knows better than his advisors. He ignores market trends, he dismisses dissenting opinions, he makes a huge, reckless bet based on nothing but his gut feeling. The company hemorrhages money, stock prices plummet, layoffs begin, the board stages a coup. He's out, gone, publicly humiliated. His golden parachute feels more like a lead weight, dragging him down. Here's how you fix this. Cultivate calculated paranoia. Always assume someone is trying to take what you have. Always question your own assumptions. Seek out people who will tell you the truth, even if it hurts. Stress test your plans. Wargame every scenario. Never let your guard down. If you loudly proclaim your brilliance, your rivals will sharpen their knives, waiting for you to slip. But if you quietly assess the battlefield, anticipate every move, and strike with precision, they won't even see you coming. Let them underestimate you. Let them think you're weak. Their arrogance will be your advantage. Machiavelli said it best. It is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be chosen. What he understood is that fear breeds respect, and respect buys you time. Love is fleeting. Fear is a constant. Blind confidence wants to be loved. Real power demands fear. But there's another trap, just as deadly. A subtle erosion of power that comes not from arrogance, but from a desperate need to be liked. What is it? The first confidence trap is the arrogance of thinking you're already at the top. You see it everywhere. The CEO who stops innovating, the athlete who stops training, the politician who believes their own hype. It's a slow rot, a self-inflicted wound. Nothing is permanent. Every advantage fades, every skill atrophies, and the moment you believe you've arrived, you've already begun your descent. This arrogance blinds you. You stop seeing threats. You ignore warnings. You surround yourself with yes men, people who reinforce your inflated ego. You become complacent. You become predictable. And when the inevitable challenge arrives, you're caught off guard, exposed, vulnerable, because you thought the game was over. It never is. Watch what happens when a boxer wins a championship. They bask in the glory. The endorsements roll in. They party. They celebrate. They believe they're invincible. But the hungry challenger is still in the gym, training harder than ever, studying their weaknesses, plotting their downfall. And when they finally meet in the ring, the champion is shocked. They're slower, they're weaker, they're outmatched, because confidence turned to delusion. Here's how you avoid this trap. Cultivate relentless self-awareness. Constantly assess your strengths and weaknesses. Seek out honest feedback, even if it stings. Never stop learning, never stop growing. Embrace the discomfort of continuous improvement, because the moment you become comfortable, you become a target. If you announce your accomplishments, people will resent you. They'll try to tear you down. They'll look for any opportunity to diminish your achievements. But if you quietly work on your craft, if you let your actions speak for themselves, you'll earn respect. And when you finally reveal your true power, it will be all the more devastating. Machiavelli said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten the wolves." What he understood is that strength and cunning are not mutually exclusive. You must be both to survive. Arrogant confidence sees only the lion. True power cultivates the fox. Let them think you're weak. Their arrogance will be your advantage. But there's another trap, just as deadly, a subtle erosion of power that comes not from arrogance, but from a desperate need to be liked. What is it? It's the disease of people-pleasing, the insatiable hunger for approval, a desire so strong it makes you betray yourself, a weakness they can smell, a mile away. What makes this need for approval so dangerous? It transforms you into a puppet, dancing to the tune of others' expectations. You sacrifice your own desires, your own principles, for the fleeting validation of those around you. You become a mirror, reflecting back what they want to see rather than asserting your own authentic self. The approval seeker avoids conflict at all costs. They nod and smile even when they disagree. They offer hollow praise even when they see incompetence. They prioritize harmony over truth, popularity over principle, and in doing so, they forfeit their own authority, their own credibility. They become a doormat, walked all over by those who sense their weakness. Because the world doesn't reward those who seek approval, it rewards those who command respect. Watch what happens to the politician who tries to please everyone. They waffle on every issue, taking no firm stands. They pander to every special interest group, promising them everything they want. They become a chameleon, changing their colors to blend in with the crowd, and in the end, they please no one. They are seen as weak, indecisive, and untrustworthy, because true leadership requires conviction. Here's how you break free from this trap. Develop a core set of values and principles, and refuse to compromise them. Learn to say no. Embrace the discomfort of conflict. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, not just those who agree with you. And remember that the most valuable form of validation comes from within. If you announce your intentions to be liked, people will manipulate you. They'll exploit your desire for approval to get what they want. But if you quietly demonstrate strength and conviction, if you earn respect through your actions, people will naturally gravitate towards you, because true influence comes from authenticity, not appeasement. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims." What he understood is that people are easily swayed by those who cater to their desires. The people pleaser is just another form of deceiver, offering empty promises of harmony and acceptance. True power lies in resisting this temptation. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing, it's about a subtle form of dishonesty with yourself. An inability to see the world as it really is, and the result can be catastrophic. What is it? The antidote to these confidence traps is simple, but brutal. Cultivate detachment. You must see yourself as a chess piece, an instrument of your own will, nothing more. Sentimental weakness is a liability. The moment you start believing your own hype, you're finished. The moment you need their approval, you're a slave. Watch what happens when you internalize every criticism, when you chase every fleeting validation. You become a weather vane, spinning in the wind. Your actions become predictable. Your enemies can read you like a children's book. Your power evaporates. Here's how you cultivate detachment. Observe yourself objectively, as if you were studying a stranger. Note your reactions, your desires, your fears, but do not indulge them. Do not identify with them. Recognize them as impulses, data points, tools to be used or discarded. If you announce your strategies, you invite opposition. People will plot against you. They will anticipate your moves. They will exploit your weaknesses. But if you quietly execute your plans, unseen and unheard, there's nothing to resist, nothing to defend against. The results will speak for themselves. Machiavelli observed that it is better to be feared than loved, if one cannot be both. What he understood is that fear is a reliable instrument of control. Love is fickle, it is conditional. Fear, on the other hand, is constant, it is predictable, and it can be used to shape the behavior of others. Detachment allows you to inspire that fear when necessary. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing. It's about a subtle form of dishonesty with yourself, an inability to see the world as it really is, and the result can be catastrophic. What is it? The empire falls, not with a bang, but with a whimper, a slow leak, a gradual erosion of power masked by the illusion of invincibility. Think of Rome, centuries of conquest, unbreakable legions, the undisputed masters of the world. Until they weren't. What happened? They stopped seeing the threats. The rot started from within, complacency replaced vigilance, and the barbarians were already inside the gates. Confidence, untethered from reality, is a fatal flaw. It blinds you to danger. It makes you deaf to warnings. You become convinced of your own superiority, and you underestimate your enemies. This is how wars are lost. This is how businesses collapse. This is how powerful men fall from grace. Watch what happens when a general believes his army is invincible. He takes unnecessary risks. He ignores intelligence reports. He pushes his troops beyond their limits. And then one day, he walks into an ambush. His overconfidence becomes a death warrant for himself and his men, because he could not see the truth, even when it stared him in the face. Here's how you inoculate yourself against this. Cultivate a healthy paranoia. Question everything. Trust no one implicitly. Assume that your enemies are smarter, stronger, and more ruthless than you think. Always have a contingency plan. Always be prepared for the worst, because the moment you become complacent, you become vulnerable. If you announce your confidence, you invite challenges. People will test you. They will probe for weaknesses. But if you quietly demonstrate competence, there is nothing to debate. You make your moves with precision and purpose, and your results speak for themselves. The less you telegraph your intentions, the more difficult it is for others to anticipate you. Machiavelli wrote that a prince should always be wary, even when he is at peace, because peace is often just a prelude to war. What he understood is that true power lies not in arrogance, but in constant vigilance. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing. It's about a subtle form of dishonesty with yourself, an inability to see the world as it really is, and the result can be catastrophic. What is it? You bleed confidence, you project strength, you believe you are invulnerable. This is your weakness. Confidence, untamed, unexamined, becomes a cage. Right now, you are building that cage around yourself, brick by brick. The first trap is simple arrogance. You believe your own hype. You mistake past success for future guarantee. This is a slow poison. It blinds you to threats, to changing landscapes, to the hunger of those below you. They see your pride. They see your blind spots. They sharpen their knives. Your arrogance becomes their weapon. It gives them the opening they need to strike, and strike they will, because power abhors a vacuum, and arrogance creates one. Watch what happens when you dismiss advice, when you refuse to listen to dissent. When you surround yourself only with those who echo your greatness, you become isolated. You lose touch with reality. You start making mistakes, small at first, then catastrophic. Your enemies seize on these errors. They amplify them. They use them to undermine your authority. The higher you climb, the further you have to fall. Arrogance is the grease that makes the fall that much faster. Here's how you break this cycle. Cultivate skepticism. Doubt yourself, seek out criticism, surround yourself with people who will challenge you, not flatter you. Listen to their warnings, heed their advice, test your assumptions, constantly reevaluate your position, because the world is always changing, and if you don't adapt, you will be left behind. If you announce your brilliance, people will resent you, they will look for flaws, they will try to tear you down. But if you quietly demonstrate your abilities, people will be impressed, they will respect you, they will seek your guidance. The results speak for themselves. Let them do the talking. Machiavelli wrote that a prince should avoid being hated and despised. He understood that arrogance breeds both. It makes you a target, a symbol of everything people resent. A wise ruler cultivates humility, not as a virtue, but as a strategy. But arrogance is an obvious trap. Anyone with half a brain can see it. The second trap is far more subtle. It's the desperate need to be liked. You crave approval. You seek validation. You want everyone to think you're a good person. This is a fatal flaw in a world of power. People-pleasing is a weakness they will exploit. They will manipulate you with flattery. They will guilt you with appeals to your better nature. They will use your desire to be liked against you. You become a puppet, dancing to their tune. Watch what happens when you compromise your principles to appease others, when you sacrifice your goals to win their approval. When you prioritize popularity over power, you lose respect, you lose authority, you lose control. Your enemies see your weakness. They push you further and further until you have nothing left to give. You become a doormat, a pawn in their game. Here's how you break free. Accept that you cannot please everyone. Some people will dislike you no matter what you do. Focus on earning the respect of those who matter, those whose opinions you value. Develop a thick skin, learn to say no. Prioritize your goals above the approval of others, because true power comes not from being liked, but from being respected, feared even. If you announce your kindness, people will take advantage of you. They will expect you to always put their needs first. But if you quietly demonstrate your generosity to those who deserve it, people will be grateful, they will be loyal, they will be willing to go the extra mile for you. The difference is discernment. Machiavelli argued that it is much safer to be feared than loved, when one of the two must be chosen. He understood that love is a fragile bond, easily broken by self-interest, while fear is a reliable deterrent, maintained by the threat of punishment. A wise ruler inspires respect, not affection. Because peace is often just a prelude to war, what he understood is that true power lies not in arrogance, but in constant vigilance. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing. It's about a subtle form of dishonesty with yourself. An inability to see the world as it really is, and the result can be catastrophic. What is it? They tell you confidence is key. Radiate certainty, they say. Project unwavering belief in yourself and your plans. This is a lie. Untempered confidence is a loaded gun pointed directly at your foot. Right now, you're probably bleeding without realizing it. Confidence unchecked becomes arrogance. Arrogance blinds you. It makes you deaf to warnings, dismissive of rivals, and ultimately vulnerable. You stop seeing the board, stop anticipating threats, and assume your position is unassailable. The bigger you are, the harder you fall. Watch what happens when a leader surrounds himself with yes men. Think about the CEO who believes his own hype, or the general who ignores the warnings of his scouts. Imagine the politician who believes his own polls. Each one marches confidently toward a cliff, convinced of their own invincibility, until the earth gives way beneath their feet. Here's how you disarm this weapon. Cultivate calculated self-doubt. Constantly question your assumptions. Seek out dissenting opinions, not echoes of your own. Test your ideas against reality. Subject them to brutal, honest scrutiny. Confidence should be a tool, not a drug. If you announce every victory, people will eventually resent your success. But if you quietly demonstrate competence, allowing results to speak for themselves, there's nothing to envy, only respect. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved. He wasn't advocating cruelty for its own sake. He was pointing to a fundamental truth about human nature. Love is fickle. Fear is constant. Love depends on the affections of others. Fear depends solely on your own actions. A wise ruler inspires respect, not affection, because peace is often just a prelude to war. What he understood is that true power lies not in arrogance, but in constant vigilance. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing, it's about a subtle form of dishonesty with yourself, an inability to see the world as it really is, and the result can be catastrophic. What is it? They tell you confidence is loud, that it demands attention, that it fills every room. This is a lie. Confidence, untempered, unguarded, becomes a gaping vulnerability like a fortress with unlatched gates. Right now, you might be radiating weakness without even knowing it. The first confidence trap, the desperate need to be liked. It's a subtle virus. It infects even the most powerful. They crave validation, they bend, they compromise, they mistake popularity for strength. Every time you prioritize being liked over being respected, you hand someone a weapon. They see your need, they exploit it, they control you. You become a puppet dancing to the tune of their approval. Watch what happens when a leader prioritizes popularity. They soften their message, they dilute their principles, they surround themselves with yes-men. The mission dies a slow death, drowned in a sea of empty smiles and meaningless praise. Here's how you eliminate this trap. Cultivate indifference. Sever your emotional dependence on external validation. Measure your worth by your achievements, not by the fleeting opinions of others. If you announce your intentions, people will criticize, resist, and try to undermine you. But if you quietly execute your plan, there's nothing to debate, nothing to resist, only results. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved when one of the two must be chosen. A leader who inspires fear can control his followers through the threat of punishment, while a leader who relies on love is at the mercy of their whims. What he understood is that affection is fickle, it evaporates under pressure. Only respect endures. But there's another trap, a more blatant display of insecurity. Raw, unadulterated arrogance. Thinking you are untouchable, invincible, smarter than everyone else in the room. It's a mask, a flimsy shield that shatters under the slightest pressure. Arrogance blinds you, it deafens you, it isolates you. You stop learning, you stop adapting, you dismiss vital information, you underestimate your enemies, and that's when they strike. Watch what happens when arrogance takes hold. They become reckless, they overextend, they make enemies without cause. They create blind spots in their defenses. Hubris precedes the fall. Here's how you fix this. Embrace humility. Recognize your limitations. Seek honest feedback. Never stop learning. Assume you are always missing something. If you announce your plans, your rivals will have time to prepare. But if you move in silence, they won't know what hit them until it's too late. Sun Tzu said, "Keep your friends close and your enemies closer." What he understood is that arrogance prevents you from seeing threats coming. Humility keeps you sharp, it keeps you alive. The third confidence trap is a slow leak that drains the life from any leader. The belief that strength means never showing vulnerability. It is the misguided idea that powerful men must be stoic, unfeeling, and devoid of emotion. This trap leads to a dangerous isolation. It cuts you off from empathy, from genuine connection, from the ability to understand the needs and fears of those around you. And that's when they revolt, they become resentful, they feel unseen, unheard of, unvalued. Then watch what happens when a leader erects an impenetrable wall around themselves. They stifle creativity, they discourage dissent, they create a culture of fear. People stop bringing problems to their attention, they hide mistakes. The leader becomes increasingly detached from reality, and the whole structure collapses. The problem is not having emotions, it is mistaking that emotions are a weakness. Here's how you use this. Embrace calculated vulnerability. Strategic displays of empathy. Genuine connection. Show your humanity. Earn their loyalty. Inspire their devotion. If you constantly project an image of perfection, you create an impossible standard. People will resent you for it. But if you show them your struggles, your doubts, your imperfections, they will relate to you, they will trust you, they will follow you. Machiavelli advised rulers to avoid being hated even more than seeking to be loved. Hatred, he wrote, is a powerful and dangerous emotion that can lead to conspiracies and rebellions. A wise ruler inspires respect, not affection, because peace is often just a prelude to war. What he understood is that true power lies not in arrogance, but in constant vigilance. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing. It's about a subtle form of dishonesty with yourself, an inability to see the world as it really is, and the result can be catastrophic. What is it? Confidence, untamed, becomes a cage, a gilded prison built of ego and fear. You believe you are strong. They see your delusion. The three traps. First, the arrogance of invincibility. It blinds you to threats. You think you're untouchable. Watch what happens when the market shifts. When loyalties crumble, your walls will not hold. Your resources will bleed. Here's how you disarm this. Embrace the unknown. Study your weaknesses. Become a student again. If you announce your dominance, people will conspire against you. But if you quietly prepare, they will never see you coming. Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved. If you cannot be both, what he understood is that respect is a shield, arrogance is a target. Second, the weakness of seeking approval. You crave their validation, you bend to their will, you become a puppet. Think about the politician who polls every decision, the CEO who needs constant praise. They lose their edge, they become predictable. Here's how you break free. Define your own standards. Measure yourself against them. If you seek their approval, they control you. But if you act from your own conviction, they must react to you. Machiavelli warned against the folly of relying on the goodwill of others. What he understood is that self-reliance is your greatest weapon. Third, the dishonesty of self-deception. You lie to yourself about the world, about your capabilities. You ignore the warning signs. Consider the general who believes his own propaganda, the entrepreneur who dismisses the competition. They are doomed. Here's how you sharpen your vision. Seek uncomfortable truths. Embrace brutal honesty. If you embrace delusion, you invite disaster. But if you see the world clearly, you can navigate any storm. Machiavelli stressed the importance of understanding human nature in all its darkness. What he understood is that self-awareness is the key to power. Master these lessons, conquer these flaws, because those who cannot control themselves cannot control anything. Sharpen your mind, harden your heart, because weakness is not an option. Now, go to war. There are lessons. A wise ruler inspires respect, not affection, because peace is often just a prelude to war. What he understood is that true power lies not in arrogance, but in constant vigilance. But there's another trap lurking in the shadows, a more insidious form of self-sabotage that masquerades as confidence. It is not about arrogance or people-pleasing. It's about a subtle form of dishonesty.